Hey everybody, Shawn here. Thanks for tuning in. This is the Suhr Reactive Load I.R. This bad boy is based on the original Suhr Reactive Load, but what they've gone and done is they've added an IR loader to it that works and sounds amazing. And to take it one step further, they've teamed up with Celestion, which is one of my favorite companies ever, to design 16 custom IRs based on the Suhr cabinets with Celestion speakers and then specific microphone combinations, and they all sound really great. Now, if you do want to use one of your third-party IRs, it's really simple drag and drop. When you plug this into your computer out of the USB port, it shows up on your computer basically as a drive, and then you can open that, and you're going to get 4 files, which are considered bank files, and then within those files, you're going to get 4 cabinets per file. And then if you want to add say an Ownhammer IR that you absolutely love, you can just remove one of the cabinets and add that one to it. And the other thing you can do too is go ahead and store a copy of the original IR folders someplace else so that if you ever want to put it completely back to stock, you can. So it's really, really cool. It's set up super easy, very user-friendly. And the thing I like about boxes like this, and the reason I've gravitated towards them, is I want consistency. So if I've got a cabinet that I absolutely adore with a mic combination that I have placed perfectly in front of that cabinet, and it's my favorite Celestion speaker ever, I want to be able to take that to basically any club or room or hall and be able to send that to front of house and be fully confident that my tone is going to be there. It's going to be consistent and it's going to sound great. Let's get right into the front panel controls. On the left, you've got basically your readout. It's going to tell you what bank you're on, and it's going to tell you what cab you've chosen. Right next to that is your IR select. So you're going to use that control to scroll through your banks and cabinets. Next to that, you have your headphone level control. When you plug your headphones into that 1/8" jack, you can control the level, especially if you just want to practice at home. Just straight off your amp into this guy, into headphones. You can crank away and not bother anybody. There's an aux in, which is awesome. So if you've got songs to rehearse or you just want to be able to jam along with your favorite tracks, you can go ahead and run into that. Right next to that is your DI level out, so that controls the output of the box to your interface or the console. Next to that, you have a signal switch. So you can actually, if you're not getting enough level to the console, when you've got this all set up the way you want, then you can bump it up to 6 dB, which is really nice. Below that is your high cut switch. So if you're just wanting to trim a little bit of top end off of the sound of your IR, you can do that. It sounds great. It's very musical. So on the back of the Reactive Load IR, you've got your input jack. That's going to allow you to run from your amplifier speaker out into the input of the Reactive Load IR. It's an 8 ohm, 100 watt max. Right next to that is your through. So if you wanted to be able to run your cabinet on stage as well as send your IR sounds to front of house, you can absolutely do that. Next to that is your USB out. So you're going to utilize that to choose your cabinets. Drag and drop, as I said, it works great. You'll plug that into the USB in on your computer. Next to that is your 9-volt DC power. And right next to that, you've got your DI line outputs. One is unfiltered. If you don't want to use the IRs, you can run unfiltered out. And then, of course, the output right next to that is your filtered IR outs. And that's obviously what we're using for this demo. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the Suhr Reactive Load I.R. Okay, let's check out the Suhr Reactive Load I.R. What I thought I would do, instead of trying to go through all 16 of these cabinets, and they all sound great, I thought maybe it'd be easier to just talk to you guys about how I gravitated towards the cabinets that I used, and specifically the ones I picked for clean tones and the ones that I picked for maybe overdrive tones. Now keep in mind, you can just pick one cabinet and it'll be fabulous, but I thought, man, maybe show you guys how I picked out the cabinets for that performance song, as they all sound great. I'm going to stick with just the one amplifier, even though I used multiple amplifiers in the demo. I'm just going to use my Suhr Hedgehog 50 for this, and I'll just turn on stomp boxes and what have you for overdrive tones as we move along. So right now, the cabinet that you're hearing is in bank 3, and it's cabinet 1. And what that is it's the Suhr PT cabinet. It's got a Celestion Creamback 75 in it, and it's only mic'd with a 57, and it's actually called Fat Celestion. I thought that sounded really beautiful, especially for that sound, and that is the amp that I used to achieve that tone. If we go just one down, what that's going to do is it's going to add a Royer 121 model to that 57. So what you're going to get is more low end. So with that setting, you hear more chime. There's a little bit more of a mid presence. I chose that because I knew it would sit in the track better. But I think just sitting and playing, I prefer this cabinet. Just really pretty sounding. We can go down the line. The next one is actually a Suhr Hedgehog. It's kind of a semi-open back cabinet, and it actually has the G1265 in it. Now that one, same thing. It's the same idea. It's just got a 57, and it's called Fat Celestion. You can hear there's a big difference between that and the Creamback. So that's super chimey and stringy. Here's the same exact thing, but we've added, once again, a ribbon mic to the mix. So more low end. But I really dug that Suhr PT cabinet 2x12 with just the 57 on it, the Fat Celestion sound. And I think I even ended up using that for one of the kind of blues tones. Because it had that really nice mid bark, but it still had the chiminess up top. So, you know, there's so many cabinets in here that you can use. I mean, I tend to be a V30 or a Creamback fan. So I wasn't surprised, having not looked at the list at all, that I ended up gravitating towards what ended up being a V30 cabinet for my crunch and solo tones. So what you're hearing right now is, this is in bank 2. Cab 1 is a Suhr V30. It's a 4x12 cabinet. Now this one has just an SM57 on it, and it's called the Balanced Celestion. Now the cab I ended up using was the one right below that, which didn't surprise me because it's a Suhr V30 4x12, but it adds the 121 to the mix. Love the way that sounded. If I move down one, we're going to go to what's called Fat Celestion, but it's just an SM57. So the first one you heard is actually Balanced Celestion. Second one is adding 121 to it. Third one is back to just a 57, but it's a fatter sound. And then the one on the bottom, cab 4, is basically the lower gain version of cab 2. Now, if you want to hear greenbacks, if you're a greenback fan, I'll leave the overdrive on and we can check that out. So here's same 4x12 cab by Suhr, but this one is a greenback and it's got SM57. This one's called the Balanced Celestion. That's a really nice sounding IR. I mean, I can hear the paper. There's a sound to greenbacks, especially on the mic, and it's captured really nicely here. So there's just a ton of sounds in this thing. So that's what I did for, solo tones. Even had I stayed on that brighter cabinet in Bank 3, the creamback cabinet, the top end might be a little too much for a solo tone. And I didn't do this for the performance, but say you loved that cabinet for your crunch, but when you went to your solo, to me that's not too much top end, but let's say it is, you can use that high cut switch to tame it. So that is the Suhr Reactive Load I.R. What I would highly recommend doing is go to the website and download the manual for this bad boy and check it out, because then you can find out exactly what IRs come with this, the custom Celestion IRs that were built with Suhr. You can find out what cabinets they used. You can find out what speaker and mic combinations they used. I highly recommend doing that. And of course, you can find out all the ins and outs of this as well. So as always, I really appreciate you guys tuning in. If you like what you see, please subscribe below. And don't forget to hit that bell button so that you don't miss any further videos that I've got coming up. Thanks, guys.